Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Over 300 Kaneville homes face removal. CH&PA issues 14-day notice. Record heat pushes power demand to 242.64 megawatt. In 4 new HIV cases involves young people between the ages of 15 and 24. And electricity crisis in Linden, a result of poor planning and neglect, says MP Solomon. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Monday, August 17 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We begin your newscast with a developing story. More than 300 households at Kaneville, East Bank, Demerara are facing uncertainty after the Central Housing and Planning Authority issued notices requiring occupants of a government reserve to vacate the location within 14 days. Some residents say they have occupied the area for decades, while others claim they previously applied to the Housing Ministry for regularization and are now stunned by the removal notice. Here is more. More than 300 households at Kaneville, East Bank, Demerara have reportedly been served with notices requiring them to vacate lands identified by the Central Housing and Planning Authority as a government or state reserve. The notices, dated August 10, 2026, gave occupants 14 days to vacate the property, and failing to do so, enforcement action could follow. For several residents, however, the notice has triggered anxiety and uncertainty, particularly among those who say they have lived in the community for decades. Shaliva Moses told Nightly News on Sunday that she has been living in the area since 1993. More than 3 decades later, she says the notice has left her on the back foot and uncertain about what comes next.
We need we land, because we Guyanese, we supposed to get it. Other people come from different way and get it more nicer than we the in Guyana.
According to the CH&PA notice, occupation of the state reserve is unlawful and constitutes squatting and willful trespass. The authority also warns that squatting is an offense under Section 45 of the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, Chapter 802. Occupants have been instructed to immediately cease unlawful occupation, construction, land clearing, or any other development on the property. Residents have also been warned not to expand or alter existing structures. However, some occupants say they had hoped that, rather than being removed, the long-standing settlement would eventually be regularized. Tia Rose, a mother of 3, told Nightly News she had been holding on to that hope and is now concerned about what the 14-day deadline could mean for her family.
Because again, this one is going down daycare. I'm a big son going Diamond School, so it'll be hard for we move. We'll be moving and go. We get nowhere to go. And in 14 days, where you could go in 14 days?
There are also residents who say they previously approached the Housing Ministry seeking some form of legitimacy for their occupation. Farmer Mohan Gir says he submitted an application to the Ministry of Housing but has not received a definitive response. With the removal notice now in hand, Gir says it is not only his home that is at stake, but his entire livelihood.
This real terrible, real terrible. Where we going to be is a board when you come and push down, chop down this tree, we going to fly on the next tree. How we will survive?
The CH&PA notice warns that persons who fail to comply with the notice could be summoned before a magistrate and required to show cause why an order should not be made for the removal from the reserve. Among those questioning the latest development is resident Roy Waith, who showed Nightly News an acknowledgement letter he received from the Central Housing and Planning Authority after previously submitting an application.
Yesterday, some people come to reassure and we even know who is you or that and said I'm going to bulldoze the place and whatsoever, right? So that is why enough Guyanese people they end up getting scared.
Nightly News understands that the land in question has been earmarked for a playground and that this is not the first attempt by the authorities to have occupants removed from the area. Meanwhile, Nightly News observed officials from the Ministry of Housing meeting with affected residents at the Neighborhood Democratic Council office on Sunday. The outcome of that meeting was not immediately known. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Guyanese hoping for relief from punishing electricity bills will have to hold on a little longer while the government promises to cut rates in half, but only after the gas to energy project reaches a crucial power generation target in 2027. Here is more.
Guyanese will have to wait until the gas to energy project is producing approximately 228 megawatts of electricity before the government implements its promised 50% reduction in electricity rates, Prime Minister Mark Phillips said. Speaking at a press conference on Friday, Phillips announced that the first 57 megawatts are now expected to enter the national grid by the end of 2026, with one of the project's gas turbines scheduled to begin operating. He said, quote, "By the end of this year, we'll see 57 megawatts, and at least one of the turbines will be spinning and generating 57 megawatts," end of quote. Generation is expected to rise approximately 228 megawatts during the first quarter of 2027. Phillips identified that milestone as the completion of the project's first phase and the point at which consumers should begin receiving lower electricity rates. He said, quote, "We set 50% reduction at the end of the project, and the project we're talking about is phase one. Phase one ends when we get 228 megawatts of power," end of quote. The government has repeatedly promised halve electricity costs through the project. Residential consumers currently pay approximately 43.43 Guyana dollars per kilowatt, while the commercial rate is around 56.38 Guyana dollars. According to Phillips, those rates will be divided by 2 once the required generation capacity is reached. He said, quote, "Whatever you're paying now, you will pay half of that," he said, describing the reduction as a commitment contained in the People's Progressive Party's 2020 and 2025 elections manifestos. The project includes a 300 megawatt combined cycle power plant and a natural gas liquids facility at Wales West Bank Demerara. Natural gas will be transported from offshore Stavro Block to the facility through a pipeline. The generation plant will use 4 SGT 800 gas turbines paired with heat recovery steam generators and steam turbines. The equipment is designed to allow individual turbines to operate independently and enter the grid in stages. While approximately 228 megawatts are expected from the gas turbines, the remaining capacity will be generated through the steam component of the combined cycle system. The full 300 megawatt plant is projected to be completed by the end of 2027. The latest schedule follows several delays affecting the project. United States-based contractor Linden has now committed to beginning the electricity generation before the end of this year. The planned rate reduction will therefore depend on the contractor meeting the revised schedule and the required generating capacity being successfully connected to the national grid. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Chris Debedine, chairman of the Arau Community Development Council in Region 1, has issued a compelling call for a complete overhaul of Guyana's passenger ferry system. His argument highlights a critical issue faced by Indigenous communities who rely heavily on this mode of transportation in wake of the 87-year-old MV Barima vessel tragedy, which claimed over 70 lives. Antonio Day is tracking this story.
Speaking at the Amerindian People's Association's Listen to Our Voices Forum over the weekend, Chris Debedine, chairman of the Arau Community Development Council, said that the MV Barima tragedy underscored the urgent need for modern passenger ferries dedicated to safety, transporting people rather than aging vessels carrying both passengers and cargo.
The tragedy involving the MV Barima has brought transportation and safety into sharp focus when the people depends on a vessel to travel.
Debedine emphasized that Indigenous communities rely on ferries for essential needs such as healthcare, education, business opportunities, and maintaining family connections, making reliable transportation vital for daily life.
Reliable and safe transportation is not a luxury, it is a necessity. We cannot be one of the fastest growing economy and we have our people punishing on a ferry.
The Indigenous leader urged the country to go beyond temporary solutions and invest in modern, comfortable and faster passenger vessels. Debadine also highlighted that families affected by the MV Burima tragedy and disaster deserve answers, transparency, accountability and closure.
We need more modernized passenger ferry to transport our Region 1 people.
Debadine shared his experiences on the MV Burima and MV Kimia, where passengers slept in overcrowded, seawater-exposed conditions. He survived an engine room fire on the one ferry that continued into a single engine.
And the boat was so packed, I had to sleep at the top of the arch of the boat. To go. I feel sorry for some of these people. I don't know if they were Spanish people or where they came from. But those people were sleeping at the walkway to the washroom and this water was washing in and out of the boat.
He urged the government to remove unsafe vessels and improve conditions for Indigenous peoples. The CDC chairman concluded by encouraging Indigenous Guyanese to speak out without fear, insisting that justice and safe transportation should never depend on where people live, but should be guaranteed equally to every citizen. Antonio Day reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio, for your reporting. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc., powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Krishna Rock Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC, Manripo, East Coast, and Marara, or call 220-9624, 629-4021, or 619-7880. At Krishna Rock Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By so doing, you would be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and are included in the official list of electors for future elections, provided you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back to the HGP Nightly News. Sweltering temperatures have driven Guyana's electricity demand to a record 242.64 megawatts, forcing authorities to rush additional generating capacity into service as consumption is projected to climb even higher in the coming months. Here's more.
Guyana's electricity demand has climbed to a record 246.64 megawatts as hotter than normal conditions drive increased use of air conditioning units and other cooling equipment, placing additional pressure on the national grid. Public Utilities and Aviation Minister Deodat Indar disclosed the figure during a government press conference on Friday, noting that peak demand during the corresponding period last year was approximately 221 megawatts. Demand is projected to reach about 266 megawatts between August and October, prompting the government and Guyana Power and Light Company to pursue additional generating capacity, introducing measures to reduce electricity consumption during the peak hours. Prime Minister Mark Phillips attributed part of the increase to the usual hot and dry conditions associated with El Niño. He said, quote, "Because of the El Niño Southern Oscillation, there is a phenomenon that results in unusual weather patterns throughout the world, and as it relates to Guyana, we're already experiencing an unusual dry season," end of quote. Indar said the growing demand was also driven by housing expansion and increased commercial and industrial activity. To meet the projected 266 megawatt peak, the government is seeking to raise available generating capacity to approximately 280 megawatts by the end of August. That target would provide a comparatively narrow reserve if demand reaches the forecast level. Indar said another 5 megawatts are expected from the power ship before the end of the month. A 4.5 megawatt engine is also scheduled to return to service, while another 5.5 megawatt unit is undergoing a major overhaul. The government is simultaneously trying to reduce pressure on the grid during the evening peak, particularly between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Sawmill operators are being encouraged to schedule operations outside of those hours, while government agencies will be asked to switch off internal lights and air conditioning systems after employees leave work. GPL will continue to monitor electricity demand and available generation as the country moves through the hotter than normal period. The interventions are intended to minimize outages and maintain sufficient reserves as electricity consumption continues to increase. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
There is a bigger story behind the electricity struggles now facing Linden and the people of the community, according to Member of Parliament Sharma Solomon. This did not begin with the latest blackout. It did not begin with El Nino. Certainly, it did not begin with residents switching on more air conditioners because of the heat. The present crisis is the consequence of years of decisions, delays, and failure to plan ahead by the government. Marvin Cato reports.
Sharma Solomon, Member of Parliament representing the Partnership for National Unity, believes that the current electricity crisis plaguing Linden is more than what is being peddled by the government.
Those big companies are paying the same $12 as business because in Linden, there is no commercial rate paid.
The present crisis, according to the MP, is the consequence of years of decisions, delays, and failures to plan ahead. He said there has been the development of an unofficial commercial zone that has seen the rapid increase in commercial companies, 35 of which are sawmills, and those entities benefit from the same reduced electricity rates in conjunction with ordinary small businesses who receive the same benefit, the MP said. Juxtaposing what entails in Georgetown has compared to Linden. The former mayor of the township said industrial companies pay 65 kilowatt per hour for electricity in Georgetown. However, a meager 12 kilowatts per hour for electricity is being paid by industrial companies in Linden, a benefit the MP said they should not be benefiting from because of their classification. He said the issue was never addressed because the government has failed to plan. Hence, the community has to suffer constant blackouts because the companies are not asked to ration their electricity use or switch to other forms of power generation to operate their businesses. When the power purchase agreement was established around 2005, he reminded, the community's electricity demand was being managed at around 6 megawatts. Today, the consumption is around 14 to 14.5 megawatts. In 2024, consumption was approximately 12 megawatts. So the progression is clear. 2005, approximately 6 megawatts. 2024, approximately 12 megawatts. And 2026, approximately 14 to 14.5 megawatts. The system has therefore moved from approximately 6 megawatts to more than 100% of that level. So while Linden's needs expand, the electricity infrastructure has not been expanded commensurate with demand. That is failure, the MP exclaimed.
Because in an industrial zone, it comes with its own classification, including commercial rates applicable to companies.
Not the residents, not the small businesses, not the family that turns on an air conditioner because the temperature is unbearable. The failure is the absence of adequate forward planning as the government adds more demands to the grid. It is observed that the electricity system remained constrained as government continued opening Linden to new unofficial industrial zones. Solomon reminded that cheap electricity rates in Linden is a result of blood, sweat, and tears shed by residents of the mining town. So any and all benefits should go to the people of the town first instead of industrial businesses. Meanwhile, the Linden Electricity Company, LECI, in a statement said the intermittent power outages currently affecting the community is as a result of critical generation shortfall. They said the company's current maximum available generation capacity stands at 14.5 megawatts, highlighting that over the past few weeks, the community's peak demand has surged past the 15 megawatt threshold, outpacing the available supply. This has been attributed to the ongoing El Niño weather phenomenon, which has led to a substantial uptick in the use of cooling equipment, particularly air conditioning units, placing unprecedented strain on the grid. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
CCJ President Justice Winston Anderson has broken his silence on allegations that he attempted to influence the court's handling of the high-profile case involving businessmen Nazar Mohammed and Azruddin Mohammed, while acknowledging that judges expressed differing views during deliberations over aspects of the reasoning. Anderson insists there was no attempt to suppress judicial opinions or dictate the outcome. He says all 7 judges were ultimately unanimous in the disposition of the appeal. Here's more. The Carbon Court of Justice President, Justice Winston Anderson, has categorically rejected allegations that he attempted to influence the judgment in the case involving Guyanese businessmen Nazar Mohammed and Azruddin Mohammed. The allegation is among several controversies addressed by Justice Anderson in a 9-page statement issued on August 14, following the publication of a confidential internal correspondence involving judges of the regional court. Justice Anderson's statement does not delve into the merits of those extradition proceedings. Instead, he directly confronts allegations surrounding what occurred internally at the CCJ during deliberations and the preparation of the judgment. And in doing so, the CCJ president makes an important admission. According to Anderson, there were differing views among the judges regarding aspects of the reasoning and how certain issues should be articulated in the final judgment. He maintains, however, that such disagreements are neither unusual nor evidence of improper interference. Anderson said robust and candid exchanges are encouraged among judges of the CCJ, with judicial conferences routinely involving competing legal analyses before a final judgment is settled. The CCJ president then strongly rejected any suggestion that he could have dictated the position ultimately adopted by his colleagues. He declared that no judge worthy of sitting on the CCJ bench would allow himself or herself to be unduly influenced by another judge, including the president of the CCJ. But perhaps the most consequential part of Anderson's defense is his disclosure that, notwithstanding the differing views during deliberations, all 7 CCJ judges were ultimately unanimous as to the disposition of the Mohammed's appeal. Justice Anderson described any suggestion that judicial views were suppressed or that a judge was directed to reach a particular conclusion as wholly without foundation. The president's explanation now places him on the public record that disagreements over aspects of the reasoning did occur during the preparation of the Mohammed judgment, while leaving Anderson firmly rejecting the much more serious allegation that those disagreements involved improper presidential interference. Justice Anderson's statement comes amid wider controversy surrounding leaked internal CCJ correspondence and allegations concerning the administration and governance of the Caribbean's highest appellate court. He has condemned the disclosure of confidential judicial material, arguing that such leaks undermine judicial and public confidence in the administration of justice. The Caribbean Court of Justice recently ruled that there were no politically motivated grounds to quash the Home Affairs Minister Onij Waldron's authorization of a magistrate to conduct hearings for the extradition of the father and son to the United States of America. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
Whatever your dream is, Republic Bank can help you make it happen. You can make it happen. Let's help you get there with a Make It Happen loan.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Safety begins with everyday choices. Recognizing hazards, following procedures, using the right equipment, and speaking up when something is wrong. From offshore operations to our homes, roads, and workplaces, looking out for one another can prevent incidents, protect lives, and help build a stronger culture of responsibility across Guyana. Since offshore oil production began, the sector has supported Guyana's long-term development. Learn more by visiting oilnow.gy.
Welcome back to the HGP Nightly News. A troubling story. Executive Director of the Guyana Responsible Parenthood Association, Kobe Smith, recently disclosed that 1 in every 4 new HIV cases in Guyana involves young people between the ages of 15 and 24. A trend he described as very concerning because the age range extends to adolescents under 16, which raises child protection concerns, the health advocate said. Marvin Cato is on this story.
HIV and AIDS among teens remain a significant public health concern. While modern medicine allows infected youths to live long lives, teens face high risks due to low testing rates, gaps in sexual health education, and a high proportion of new infections occurring in young demographics. Speaking recently with the media, Kobe Smith, Executive Director of the Guyana Responsible Parenthood Association, HGP, said this worrying trend threatens to undermine gains made in HIV testing, treatment, and prevention over the past 2 decades. He said the stark reality is 1 in every 4 new HIV cases in Guyana involves young people between the ages of 15 and 24 is a concerning reality and a situation that needs to be addressed. Because Guyana has made significant progress in testing and ensuring that sufficient treatment is available for persons to know their status, and with this knowledge, increased viral suppression will be the byproduct to ensure that there is no rollback of the gains that were made over the past 15 to 20 years, he said. HIV has been a bugbear in the Guyanese society, with many being tested positive over the years. With young people accounting for a portion of new HIV cases, Smith said the response must go beyond testing and treatment to ensure they have accurate information that they can understand, relate to, and use to make informed decisions about their sexual health. In his plea, Director Smith said that beyond content, such information, he reminded, must be engaging and creative, using tools such as animation and storytelling to better connect with young people, helping them understand the protection and the prevention of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, which are infections passed from person to person through sexual contact and may cause symptoms such as discharge, itching, painful urination, and pain during sex. Smith said the GRPA is focused on listening to young people and learning from their experiences to better understand how the organization can meet their needs and provide services that are relevant to them. Quote unquote, we've been listening to young people in schools, out of schools, we've been listening to young people online, and that information has really helped us a lot with the work we do at the community level. And to be able to know that we're actually not just delivering services, but that we're seeing impact, he explained. He reminded that young people have also told the GRPA that they want sexual health services that are either free or affordable, and in that regard, he encouraged them to take a proactive approach to their sexual health by getting regular STI and HIV screenings rather than waiting until symptoms appear. The young HIV/AIDS advocate said encouragingly, quote unquote, persons would be screened maybe once or twice per year, depending on the risk or vulnerability of the various situations. So we really want to ensure that persons generally know their status at least once a year, and of course, there are testing sites that are publicly available and supported by the Ministry of Health. For persons who would like to come to GRPA, we are also an indelible part of the Ministry of Health, and we also provide STI HIV testing and screening, he added. Smith noted that the GRPA provides HIV treatment in a safe and confidential environment for people who test positive. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Antonio Day tells us now that the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union, as part of its social and cooperative responsibility, is offering its annual bursary awards to children who excelled in the National Grade 6 assessment. According to the organization's chairman, Trevor Ben, over 100 students per year have benefited from this initiative to date. Here is more.
At one point, we were issuing just about 20 bursary. At last count, we have been issuing over 100 bursary per year. We take pride in being the only organization in this country that gives that level of bursary.
That was Trevor Ben, chairman of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union, during an exclusive interview with Nightly News. Ben noted that successful candidates who are the children of GPSCCU registered members will receive a minimum of $50,000 every year.
That's a cash grant. And in addition to that, we buy for them school accessories to the value of over $25,000.
The top 5 students are eligible to receive 1 laptop, each as part of the bursary awards. The chairman noted that this initiative is part of the organization's social and cooperative responsibility, serving as a way to show gratitude to loyal members.
We spend between $6 and $10 million every year giving bursaries to our members, actually paying back, for the good that they've been doing.
Meanwhile, Christopher Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of GPSCCU, said that parents and guardians interested in the bursaries have until August 31 to apply.
The parent must be a member of the credit union, an active member, that is, and in good standing. So once that is rectified, you have to submit the child's exam slip along with a copy of the child's birth certificate.
Antonio Day reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Fruitopia, it's a drink that's hype. Citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Guava, pineapple, that give me a vibe. We don't want nothing less. less compared to the rest. Fruitopia the best. Quenching thirst when it comes to the test. Perfect thing for my lunch. Flavors pack a punch. Fruitopia, Fruitopia. It's a drink that's hype. It's citrus punch, fruit punch tastes nice. Fruitopia, the drink that rocks your lunchtime.
Across Guyana, oil and gas companies are supporting stronger educational opportunities, from hands-on STEM programs and smart classrooms to teacher development, university education, and practical training. These investments are helping young Guyanese develop technical, digital, and problem-solving skills while creating clearer pathways to further education and employment. By investing in learning today, Guyana is building the expertise and innovation needed for tomorrow.
It's a new day with Shilling Oil. A unique blend of natural oils to help ease and soothe the day-to-day discomforts of life. Get relief from muscle and joint pain, headaches, and congestion. Shilling Oil lets you get back to the things you love doing most. Water relief with Shilling Oil. Distributed by Massey Distribution.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration, name change, or correction. You must have the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Good evening and welcome to Monday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonia Day. Here's what you need to know as we turn attention to news in the region. We begin with news coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. Relatives of 28-year-old Nigel, quote-unquote, Puhi Mohammed are demanding justice following a pre-dawn police operation in La Romaine on Sunday that left Mohammed and another man dead. Police reportedly stormed the house on Ashley Street after jumping a fence near a church. According to the police account, officers encountered a man inside the house who opened fire at them, prompting them to return fire. But Mohammed's relatives and residents are disputing that accounts saying that they believe the two men were killed in cool blood and are calling for an independent investigation into the circumstances surrounding their deaths. The identity of the second man remains unknown, but Mohammed's relatives said he lives in Pleasantville and La Brea. Standing outside Mohammed's family house on Sunday, his sister Melissa Mohammed, age 44, described the incident as an unjust police killing. This is a targeted police killing, she said. Stay with news in the region. Opposition Senator Carlos James has raised serious concerns regarding reports that numerous individuals working within St. Vincent and the Grenadines government service have still not been paid. James, speaking on Star Radio, stated that certain current employees in the state administration have gone several months without receiving their salaries. James highlighted a particularly dire situation involving ambulance drivers, some of whom have reportedly not been paid since March. He recounted a specific interaction with one driver who admitted to being ashamed to even publicly admit the lack of payment because he had worked for the current administration. According to sources, the driver lamented that such a situation never happened under Labour, referring to the previous Unity Labour Party government. James expressed bewilderment at how these workers and their families are surviving while the employees continue to show up for their shifts despite the lack of compensation. He argued that these delays are a symptom of a broader breakdown in the administrative matters and the poor quality of administration currently managing the country's resources. Furthermore, James cautioned that if the state is currently failing to meet its basic salary obligations, there are significant questions regarding whether the Treasury can handle the legal requirements for upcoming pension and gratuity payments for other workers. And finally, with international news, Donald Trump has again threatened to bomb Oman if it gets in the way of his efforts to end the US-Israel war on Iran. If Oman gets in the way, we will bomb the quote-unquote out of them. Trump told Fox News on Monday the second time he has directed such a threat at Muscat, a longtime US strategic partner that has traditionally served as a key back channel between Washington and Tehran. The US president threatened as he struggles to end the conflict nearly 6 months in with a diplomatic window with Tehran closed and no agreement in sight. Trump stated he's not in a hurry for the deal. The 2-month negotiation window closed Monday without progress, despite his claims that the war would end soon and optimism for a peaceful deal. Thus was the end of Monday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonio Day, saying thanks for watching. Enjoy, and do take care, be safe. Goodbye for now.
Let's join Delvin Neblet now for HGP's Sports Pulse.
Good evening, Guyana. I'm Delvin Neblet with your HGP TV Sports Pulse for today, Monday, August 17, 2026. We begin tonight with golf. Action took place in the 2026 Dem Life Golf Tournament at the Lusignan Golf Course on Saturday. Out of a field of 28 players, Dr. Joe Andio emerged as overall champion with a gross score of 84 and a net score of 70, while also claiming victory in the 13 to 18 flight category. Dio also secured the prize for the longest drive as Hilbert Shields, Bala Vinjimur and Patrick Rashad won the senior flight, the 90 to 28 flight and the 0 to 12 flight categories respectively. Mohan Lal Din Nod received the individual award for nearest the pin, while also achieving the best gross score of 80. Moving into squash, action commenced in the 2026 Pan American Games Squash Championships at the Centro Nacional de Squash in Asunción, Paraguay on Saturday. Competing in the women's singles category, both Mary Fungafat and Kirsten Gomes lost in straight sets to Venezuelan and Paraguayan opponents respectively, while Ashley Khalil lost in 5 sets to Thaisa Sarafini of Brazil. On the men's side, both Samuel Ince Carvajal and Alex Arjun lost in straight sets to Canadian opponents, while Daniel Ince defeated Alejandro Rivas of El Salvador in straight sets to advance to the round of 32. Inter-cricket action took place in CWI's 2026 Rising Stars Women's Under-19 tournament, with Guyana Under-19 taking on the Leeward Islands at the Liberta Sports Club in Antigua and Barbuda on Friday. Winning the toss and batting first, Guyana were limited to 97 for 9 of their allotment of 20 overs, as Jada Fraser top scored with 19, and both Sakina Descent and Sejana Budraj picked up 3 wickets for the Leewards. When the Leeward Islands responded, they reached 98 for 6 in just 17 overs, as Jackezia Smithen top scored with 21 in the 4-wicket victory. Shanessa Thomas was the pick of the bowlers for Guyana, taking 4 for 22 in a losing effort. More in cricket action took place in the East Bank West Coast zone of the 2026 Lotto Let's Bet One Guyana T10 Table Blast over the weekend. After 2 days of exciting action, the Mighty Movements family emerged as champions after securing a narrow 8-run victory over the Eccles All-Stars in the grand final at the Metamare Ground in Region 3 on Sunday. Player of the match, Gavin Moria, was the pick of the bowlers for Madia, taking 3 for 26 in a winning effort, as the Movements family successfully advanced to the national finals, set to be played at the Anna Regina National Stadium in Essequibo on October 11th. Finally, in cricket, action continued in the 2026 Caribbean Premier League with 3 fixtures over the weekend. On Friday at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground, the St. Lucia Kings secured a 3-wicket victory on DLS method over the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, As player of the match, Matthew Ford picked up 4 for 29 in a winning effort. At Sabina Park on Saturday, the Jamaica Kingsmen secured a comfortable 5-wicket victory over the Trinbago Night Riders. As player of the match, Kirk McKenzie scored a brilliant 69 from just 25 deliveries. The Barbados Trident secured their second consecutive victory at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground on Sunday, beating the St. Lucia Kings by 9 runs on the back of a match-winning 61 from player of the match, Shafeen Rutherford. That's it for this edition of the HGP TV Sports Pulse. I am Delwyn Neblet reminding you to stay in the game.
Over 300 Kaneville homes face removal. CH&PA issues 14-day notice. Record heat pushes power demand to 242.64 megawatts. 1 in 4 new HIV cases involves young people between the ages of 15 and 24. And electricity crisis in Linden, a result of poor planning and neglect, says MP Solomon. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.